Cursive from Heptagram at Mctherodon, and today we're going to walk you through 2 add-ons that will improve your performance as a tank in certain aspects. The first add-on will make you able to track your own personal shields, cooldowns, etc. So you'll be able to see when the cooldown is about to run out. The add-on will also help you track the duration of the external cooldowns such as Hand of Sacrifice and Pain Suppression when they're cast on you. The second add-on will enable you to see the external raid cooldowns that are available for you to call out for. That way, you won't do the mistake of calling out for a Pain Suppression when it is actually on cooldown, and hence you will be preventing a wipe. So let's start with the first add-on. The name of the add-on is TellMeWhen. It is very easy to set up. Basically what is going to happen is you're going to have little alerts on your screen every time you pop a cooldown. So let's say I'm a pally tank, I'm going to pop Divine Protection right now. I'm going to get a little icon here that shows me the icon, and it shows me the duration on the timer on the cooldown as well. And then after it's about to run out, if I need another cooldown, I can pop Ardent Defender. Over here it shows it as well. I mean, some people say, well, I can always track it up here, but I mean, let's face it, in the middle of the raid, middle of a bit difficult fight, and you have a shit ton of, and you have tons of icons here like Rejuve, Renews, a lot of things going on up here. It's really difficult to keep track of certain of these little things. So you're better off using them here so that you can see them happening. I can add a trinket as well. That way I can see the timer on it as well. And obviously as a pally tank, keeping track of sacred shields couldn't be easier. What I have set up as well is, as my preference right now is empowered seals as a pally tank, for instance. Let's say I want to keep track of juggling the 2 seals. So right now I have Seal of Insight up. I go to the dummy, I hit Judgment, I get the buff right here that I get from Insight. Now I switch to Righteousness and I click Judgment, I got the other one, and then I can switch back to Insight. Pew pew, continue doing what I'm doing, and then when it's about to run out I can refresh it again using Judgment. Now the haste one is about to run out, I hit Seal of the Righteous, I refresh it, then I can switch back to Insight, and so forth. Easy to keep track, easy to juggle, couldn't be easier without TellMeWhen. Now I'm going to show you how to set up these alerts in a very easy fashion. I'm just going to run out here to get out of combat, and then slash. Obviously the first step is to download the add-on and install it. After doing so, you can hit /tmw, and obviously for starters you will not have this mess on your screen, you're just going to have an empty bar here. I'm just going to reset this really fast. It's going to look like this. If it's not here and you want to create a new group, all you gotta do is go to Interface, and you go to Add-ons, TellMeWhen, and you can create your own group. There's also a global group that you can create, where basically if you want to build a few trackers for bosses, like boss mechanics or whatever, then you can, if you set it to global, that way whatever character you switch to will always have the same alerts. Like I used to have here some alerts for Shaw of Pride on Mythic, and I used to share it between all my characters. Regardless, let's stick for now with group's profile. This is the individual profile for this character. I'm gonna go to group 4, which is the one I created, which is completely empty. And over here, those are basically the 2 things that you wanna keep an eye on, are the number of columns and the number of rows. Those really decide how do you want to have it set up. Do you want it to be set up like in a square with all the icons next to each other, or just one vertical line or one horizontal line? So this is all personal preference. I prefer it to be like 1 row, let's say 5 columns or 5 alerts, and then you can choose here whether you want it to show as an icon or a bar. I personally prefer icon for tank, because all I need to see is the icon and the timer. As DPS, I prefer to see the bar because it changes color for me when it wears out as well. It's all personal preference. That's just how I like it personally. And I click OK. This is what you're gonna get after you're done. If you hover over it as well, it says Group 4 icon 1. If I click on the first one, right click, and then over here you're going to click enabled, and you're going to go to buff, debuff, and you're going to type in here the name of the spell that you want to track. Let's call it Divine Protection. Let's start with that one, right? You're going to get a few suggestions here. So if you're unsure of a spelling, if you want to track something but you're not sure which one it is, blah blah blah, all of that, well, you can always just see the suggestions. Basically what I want is Divine Protection, and the icon is right here. I'll just click it. Then units to watch. You can obviously, if you type in player, basically you're the player. It only watches you, which is all of the alerts that we're going to show in this video are going to be player. Obviously, you can also adjust it to show your focus. You can adjust it to show like your other tank that's tanking with you, and so forth. And then over here, you're just going to keep it as it is on buff. You're going to choose any present. That way, it'll show you when the cooldown is up. If you choose any apps, all absent and not all present, it'll always show you the icon up. Obviously, we're just going to keep it any present. And then I personally also like to show the timer and show timer text instead of just an icon that disappears. I want to know how much time I have. After you're done, click OK. Very simple. It took how long would it normally take you? It would take 5 seconds to set up the whole alert. Very simple. You can set it up right before a boss fight if you want as well. Now let's test it out. I'm gonna hit /TMW to get out of this config mode, and I'm gonna click Divine Protection. I'm gonna get the icon right here. Now for some people, they may not be able to see this number over here, and this is basically a setting here that you're gonna have to go to interface and go to the game options, the game interface options. Go to action bars. The very bottom it shows show numbers for cooldowns. You just check this box and basically everything else will turn with numbers. It'll show you here 3 minutes and it shows me here the numbers, and it's very simple, very easy. I guess this is also again it's personal preference. Some people might not like seeing the numbers on their bar. I personally like it. It keeps it more I guess organized, keeps me aware of what's going to happen. It's just all personal preference. So you go back to the config mode, you can see that I have Sacred Shield up, Seraphim as a pally tank, Guardian of Ancient King. You can set up anything you want, trinkets, and then over here if you see there's also external cooldowns that you can add, Pain Suppression, Iron Bar, Cocoon, etc. And if you click on them, if you see the way they're configured exactly the same way, the way we configure Divine Protection. Buff, debuff, make sure it's player, buff, type in obviously the spell name over here, any present, show timer text, click enable and click OK, and you're done. You're literally done. That's all you need to do. And then you'll be able to track all the cooldowns on you. That way, let's say for instance you're in a heavy tank damage phase. I'm gonna start. You're going in heavy tank damage phase, and I already have, let's say, Sacred Shield up. I'm gonna pop Divine Protection. 7, 6, 5, 4, blah blah. When it's about to hit 1, I can pop maybe a trinket. Then I have the trinket running as well. The trinket, let's say a trinket is about to run out, I can pop Guardian of Ancient King afterwards, and so forth. And then once I'm out of cooldowns, out of my personal cooldowns, I can then call out for something else, some external thing, Pain Suppression or whatever. And obviously when you're about to do that, the first thing you need to do is make sure that that cooldown is available for you to use. Otherwise, you're clogging vent, because by the time you say, give me Pain Suppression, and then the priest answers, oh, it's on cooldown, you're probably going to be dead, right? So you're better off knowing what's available, pre-calling it out. How do you do that? You do that using another add-on. There are a list of add-ons that you can choose from that can track this kind of icons, or alerts rather, sorry. And the one that I'm going to show you here right now is called Hermes. It's basically the one you see in this video on the right side. Let's assume that obviously I'm alone in this group, so let's assume that there's another pally in the group called Victor, and I want to know if he has Hand of Sacrifice available. All I have to do while I'm tanking is take a quick look on the right side of the screen, and you're gonna see, oh, Hand of Sacrifice available, and then you'll call out, okay, Victor, give me Hand of Sacrifice. That's it, or sack me, or whatever. So you'll get a Hand of Sacrifice. When that happens, you're gonna get here. Obviously, Hand of Sacrifice is gonna show using TellMeWhen on your screen, which is really cool. And this bar will start having a timer on it, and then you'll know, okay, Hand of Sacrifice is on cooldown right now. So let's set up Hermes really quick. If you type in /Hermes config, you get this window over here, and out here the first tab is general. It'll show enable Hermes, which is obviously exactly what we want, and the default is not check this box, but you're gonna check it to configure. And then under spells tab, you can choose what spells you want to track. Obviously, as a raid leader, you may, if you're a raid leader, you want to keep track of like other things. You want to keep track of, let's say, tranquility. You want to keep track of amplify magic for a mage. You want to keep track of revival for a monk. Like there are a lot of things that you want to keep track of as a raid leader. However, as a tank, if you're not a raid leader and you just want to keep an eye of your tank cooldowns, then you can do that as well. Like obviously you can choose anti-magic shell in case you want the DK to pop it, you know, like on you or whatever. Assuming the boss doesn't cleave, of course. Iron Bark, Life Cocoon, all of these add-ons, Hand of Sacrifice. You can even add Hand of Protection if you want, or Purity if you know there's a dot from a boss or whatever. Guardian Spirit, Pain Suppression. Like you can add whatever you want. That way, when you're done, it'll all show here on the right side. There's also, if you want to adjust the way the layout looks, you can go to UI and go to over here under View Settings. You can go to Window and change the size of it. You can make it really small or really big. I prefer just a regular size, really, so that it doesn't like clog my screen. So this is right here, very simple, very easy, and it'll show you all the names, like right, per class or per ability or whatever, and that's it. And you click on close, and the add-on is sorted, and that way you're ready to tank. You're ready to track what cooldowns are available, and you're ready to see your own cooldowns and the external cooldowns on you as they happen. So I hope this video was educational, and have fun tanking. Have a good night.